Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. This is a recap of last week's live stream, where we were continuing development on our SSTO. I went ahead and got this thing to orbit before I started the live stream, because, well, we didn't really need to go through a whole nother launch sequence. It does add a bunch of time that we don't particularly need. So we were setting up our node for our retro burn. This did make it to orbit all on its own, and we deployed our 8-ton test weight just to get it out of the cargo bay, thinking that might have something to do with some of our stability issues that we are seeing on reentry, and then plotted a node that would hopefully bring us down somewhere near Cape Canaveral, although really just getting into the atmosphere and being able to glide around would be a massive first step. We'll worry about sticking it on a runway a little later, but Retroburn is painfully long and painfully slow and does chew up quite a bit of our aerosine, although here in fast-forwarded footage it looks a lot speedier. Making sure that all of our aerosine was as far to the nose as we could make it, just to help us get some stability. We will cross into the nighttime side of the Earth before we hit Atmo, and then start to get our nose up. Now, the only real change made since last week's live stream was that I forgot to put a fairing in the very bottom section of the fairing base, the one that's completely covered by wings, thinking that it wouldn't matter. Apparently it does, because we are not seeing the same fairing overheating issue as we were in the previous weeks, but we do still have other issues to contend with, namely shifting stabilities and a very long time spent in the atmosphere, although we're not getting nearly as much overheat threshold as we were last time, so I think maybe we've stepped past that problem and moved into a completely new problem, which is always a good time. Always fun troubleshooting. Anyway, I'm going to turn you over to Old Me for the actual reentry for commentary during the live stream. If we don't stick this on a runway, I don't know if it will. I don't know. A simple 10-ton launch vehicle is pretty cheap. I mean, really, the RA9 runs like 38,000, and if you were to strip it down to something that could just put 10 tons in orbit, you'd probably be looking at like low 20s, maybe. And so I guess, I don't know. The recovery margins are interesting. If we recover this thing, it costs like 450,000. If we recover that at 80%, no, it won't be cheaper. I guess the goal is to land it on runways every time. We all know my record with that. But that's the goal. I just really wanted to build one, okay? They are incredibly hard to justify for anything except the look what I made factor. Let's just be real. Yeah, not surprised. I don't know, it was an old Xbox Wookiee, like the old 360s. I know, like, the external antenna was actually pretty good. I don't know how the Xbox Ones are, but I assume they're better than a thumb drive Chromecast antenna. Yeah, so the air-breathing engines to get back to a runway, German Kerman, is a really, really good idea. I am absolutely terrified how many jet engines this thing would need to stay aloft long enough to get to a runway, and how much that would absolutely murder my Delta V. But yeah, yours is a 2-staged orbit, isn't it? Simulation gaming, no. I think you're absolutely right. It is much more of a technology demonstrator than a workhorse. I don't do a lot of satellite contracts, and that's really the only thing that this is qualified to do. But if you could do it right, you could turn satellite contracts into pure money, which would be good, but the profit margins on using something like the SKS to not only do a satellite contract, but do a 3 Kerbal in low Earth orbit contract is far better. I mean, even with the SKS, its cost to field is like 350,000. You get about 120 back if you stick it on a runway. And then if you do a 3, I mean, that'll pay for... You can break even on a satellite contract, but if you then also do a 3 Kerbal to low Earth orbit contract, those will typically pay out a total of 600 grand. Alright, it's overheat warnings. Okay, it's none of our 10 million thrusters. It's probably struts. Yeah, I know there's some struts up there. Poof. Poof. All that flame for so much nothing. That's the image I was looking for. Yeah, we're getting a little warm. And that roll. Oh boy, that roll. And now we've got a yaw deviation also. Oh, I don't have any of the big thrusters pushing me on yaw. Dang it. But hey, we haven't blown up yet. Well, we're also only at 90 kilometers altitude. We have pushed our periapsis down to 57, which is somewhat normal, and we've not bled off all that much speed at all. Good. Alright. Oh, come on, keep your nose up. Come on, sweetie. So the SKS ended up having that really large Aerozine and N2O tank at the back of the cargo bay, which means we could adjust ballast. Just for this very same reason that I really kind of wish I had that now. But, oh man, that would weigh so much. These things are quite a conundrum. And I really do fear that we're going to have to like scrap this entire design and start fresh. With all of the interesting things that I've learned trying to brute force this thing into working. But hey, look, we're ballistic now. We are not going to skip off the atmosphere. Well, periapsis is sinking sharply. I kind of expected us to start gliding back up again, but I guess we are like 268 tons. So let's not be too shocked. Alright, come on. You can just stay at least somewhere near the prograde. Just around the general vicinity. Plus 30 degrees or so. Not too much deviation. No. No. Oh, it's wrestling me. Come on. No, 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 no. Oh, bring it back. Come on. Don't explode just because you want to be dumb. And see, now I'd be shifting ballast to the front. I don't know what's overheating. Hopefully, yep, just a strut. But man, it really doesn't like it when you only lose one. Yeah, skipping off requires like it's deflection. You're actually altering the flight path. So if you're lighter, I think you're more likely to skip because it's easier to alter the course of something. Whereas if you're heavier, it's harder to get you to change course. It's harder for the air to push you back up. In order to skip, you have to lose some speed. Bobby Factor, how's it going? I think. I don't know. That's I'm not very well versed in aerodynamics explanation. Oh, so I was trying to translate what German Kerman said. Now I understand it's the months. And I don't know what he was referencing. I'm a little confused. Alright, stay put. Stay put. Okay. Periapsis is negative. Our rate of descent has fallen nicely. We're still only down to about 80 kilometers, which is nice. Our rate of descent is good and slow. I mean, we haven't blown up yet, Bobby Factor, so far so good. Still moving very, very fast. 7.3 kilometers per second at 80 kilometers altitude. But our rate of descent is very slowing. And I think we'll start to climb again soon, which is awesome because that's a great way to shed speed. And this thing is doing an absolutely terrible job of shedding speed. Oh. Look at that. Almost. Come on. Yeah, we're level. And kind of, if not turning a bunch. Oh, I really wish this thing was a lot less of a wrestling match. I do not understand why it has such a terrible yaw deviation. I don't know, does anybody remember at about what altitudes we were exploding last week? I don't. I don't think I actually knew either, I just wasn't really paying attention. I was focusing on many, many other things. We're actually pushing our time to apoapsis away. Well, we were until that yaw deviation started to interfere with us again. Now it's falling. Well, tomorrow's a public holiday. Nice to hear, Bobby. And thank you for staying up late with us. I know it's a little difficult for everybody on the other side of the Atlantic from me. I do greatly appreciate the effort all of you make. It's pretty awesome. So, what's the public holiday? Nope, still climbing? Really? Okay, I'll take it. Oh, yeah, I was... Jesus, really? Well, yeah, now I feel kind of dumb. I should know that. Is that written on my calendar over here somewhere? I have to not pay attention just for a second. Nope. Now I don't feel bad. That's interesting. Ascension. So I was in Ireland a few years ago. It was like the week before Halloween, which apparently is a bank holiday in Ireland. Maybe it's the UK in general. I'm not sure. But since apparently Halloween is a huge deal in Ireland, they just take the whole week off. which is, man, that would be pretty cool. But it took me by surprise. I'm like, what, really? And just the term bank holiday I'd never heard before as an American. Just the banks were closed, so everybody else is closed too, except for the pubs, really. And we're about to start descending again. This thing is actually behaving itself. Don't jinx it. Now that I've said something, we're going to go spiraling wildly out of control. Where are we exactly? Alright. Oh, still way out in the middle of nowhere. If we're dang lucky, I think we'll get, if this doesn't explode, I think we'll get a couple more skips. Like, yeah, see? Our rate of descent was slowing, and then it picked up, and then it started slowing again, so I think we'll get many more skips. Let's say school was out. Not all businesses were closed the whole week, but people were not in school. It's just that Monday that most of the businesses were closed. It's just the October half term, so it's like a mid-semester break thing. Are you going to disillusion me and tell me that they're not just taking the week off of school because of Halloween? Because I'm really happy in that lie. I haven't had to wrestle with the controls in like a solid minute or two. This is delightful. As long as nothing explodes. Are we heading down? Yeah, we're heading down. Good, good. Yeah. Safe enough for physics warp. No. If we can prove it'll work once without physics warp. But really, I just need it to work once. And then I'll know it can at least be done. And then I have to add an antenna to it, which is going to screw everything up entirely. Alright, yeah, we're starting to get that yaw and roll deviation back, which means we're probably getting some real air around it now. Means maybe we'll either start slowing down a bunch or start climbing again. It does not look like we're seeing significant change in our rate of descent, but it's not being catastrophic. And our deceleration is nice and gentle, which hopefully means everything is going to be a-okay. Fingers crossed. I mean, wow. Well, yeah, it looks like we might even be able to put it down on some land. I don't think we're getting back to Florida today. I could be wrong, though. We're still moving at 7 kilometers a second. Jeez. Maybe we will get to Florida. Wouldn't that be interesting? I guess this is the worst part about building shuttles or space planes in general. It's the absolutely massive amount of time it takes to bring it home. Does FAR have anything interesting to say? Large AOA side slip. Mach 24. I did not run values at this kind of speed. I think I topped off at Mach 20. Oops. I agree, Wookie. Ignorance is bliss. Oh. What is this overheat warning on, I wonder? Probably a thruster? That's not even... Oh, yeah, maybe it is that one. Okay. Overheat warning on the unoverheatable thrusters. So even when it fails, at least it'll look good doing it. On a wing section, really? Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess they are entirely not rated to carry 264 tons back from low Earth orbit. But why only the one? Very interesting indeed. How's our rate of descent? I would have liked to have seen it gone up a bit since, or by now. I think our rate of descent is actually increasing. I thought our technology advanced beyond the burning off of thrusters on reentry by this point. I guess not, but, you know, I will burn off all the thrusters if it means we get to put this thing down on some dirt, maybe even some concrete today. Yeah, it's just kind of hanging out right at that level of heat. Alright, that's fine. You know, as long as you don't start flipping out and spinning around and being all crazy. Oh, hey, look at that. We fell below 7 kilometers a second finally. And our rate of descent is slowing. Probably in about another minute or two, we're going to start climbing again. And maybe that'll start bleeding enough speed to where these overheats will go away. I mean, maybe. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Oy vey. I'm genuinely considering using physics warp. I take back everything I said about not hitting Florida today. I think if we're lucky, we're not going to overshoot Florida today. Holy shnikey. Is it daylight somewhere? Yeah, we'll be crossing the Terminator soon. Might skip to the Sahara, home sweet home. That is my preferred landing zone. Although if this thing has any hope of being viable in any stretch, it needs to hit runway. That sucks. I'm so bad at hitting runways. I had a lot of problems with the trajectories mod. I think I've tried to get it working at least 2 or 3 times now. And it is also not that great with space planes, apparently. Oh, I do not trust Mech Jeb landing guidance. I've seen him pile way too many Kerbals into the moon. We all know why I don't use docking port alignment indicator. Because it's really funny. I don't know, something about the challenge of doing it by hand, flying it myself, figuring out how to do it without a lot of tools. But I just don't trust Mech Jeb. Not at all. He's killed way too many people, way too frequently. I'll take his information pain, but I'm not going to trust him to land things. Although, if there was something to experiment around with it, this would be the thing to do it with, because there's no Kerbals on board. Alright. Are we? Nope, not climbing. Okay. I thought we'd be climbing by now. Were we climbing? It looks like that rate of descent is going up again, where the needle is falling. But hey, there's a Gulf of California and a very nice sunrise. Yeah, I'll say me and Mech Jeb have a very difficult working relationship. I need him to work, but I know he's just waiting to kill me. The trajectories is very inaccurate with objects that have more lift than a centered command module, but hey, better than nothing. Yeah, I had issues with it either causing the KSP not to load entirely or just giving me ridiculous numbers that I did not trust. Kind of like Mech Jeb. I don't know, I haven't had a... well, no, I can't even say that. I tried to land something with accuracy on Mars. It went very wrong, but there's a whole lot wrong with that landing besides just my terrible piloting. And I think with every subsequent shuttle launch, I get a little closer to putting it on concrete. I just have to learn the vehicle a bit more. And it's going to be no different with this. One of these days, I will actually put something down on a runway, and it will be legit. It won't involve a flat spin. It is known. I'm glad it's not just me at this point. This might be the lowest and slowest we've ever gotten this thing before, but we do have a pile of heat warnings. Yeah, almost down to 6 kilometers a second. I haven't touched the controls in minutes. May or may not be a bad thing. And this is using only SAS. I do not have atmospheric autopilot switched on, although I do have it up there just in case things get a little wonky. I'm fully expecting them to later on, or as we get a little lower. I think there'll kind of be this crucial point when we're right at about 4.5, 5 kilometers per second and down at about the 45 to 50 kilometer range, where there won't be quite enough air to maintain control, but we'll have all this speed. I'll say, man, if you've got 200 hours in RSS and you have a working space plane, that's something to be proud of. I don't care if you have to land it with parachutes. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, time to pay attention. We're going a little off the reservation here. Okay. No, we still got plenty of fuel. Atmospheric autopilot, you gonna help? Are you gonna make things worse? Oh, good. Come on, do not dead spin on me. Right there, right there. Come on, bring it back, bring it back. Oh, come on. Do not. For whatever reason, she just really wants to come home upside down. Or spinning. in a flat manner. Oh, this is extra good. It's doing an S turn because I said something about overshooting Florida. Really bad time. No, nothing. I don't know what we lost, but fine. Get the nose in it. Yeah, right. No. That's very interesting. Oh yeah, this rate of descent has gotten a lot worse. Yes. That was probably an engine. Alright, come on. Oh, almost, come on, bring it back. No, I did not mean to hit that. It is so interesting. Oh! Okay, and there it goes. Well, some of it got a little further. Yes. That's what happens when you try to make SSTOs. So I actually think that my control surfaces were being completely ineffective at getting this thing back on balance. I think it's a balancing issue. That high in flight. What is... Oh, that's one of the nose tanks. Hey, look. A fairing survived. Landing gear. Where are they going to land? You know, Texas. Good enough. More RCS. Yeah, I think the center of mass is too far back. Revert, spaceplane hangar. I thought we got that part figured out. Apparently I'm wrong. Back now in the VAB, we will take a quick couple of very sped up seconds to drain all of the fuel from this before we can bring out our FAR menus and start tweaking some of our wing surfaces at various speeds. Far too much of both spaceplane and space shuttle development is spent staring at FAR numbers that I barely understand and seeing what kind of result we get from it. If you can tell by looking at this, we have a yaw discrepancy and a side slip deficiency at higher speeds in the atmosphere. And based on this, we are only red on one category, and even then it is not by much, which was about the same kind of results I was getting for the Shuriken shuttles, the smaller Mark 1, and then even all the way up to the Mark 5 Shurikens, all had that yaw deficiency. That's why I used atmospheric autopilot to help guide all of those craft in through the atmosphere. Also a quick double check to make sure that our control surfaces are correctly assigned. Only, I think, one or two of them were actually acting on authority that they were not intended to, but that does pretty much nothing to help solve our issue. So then there was a lot of trying to just barely move wing surfaces around and seeing what kind of results we were able to get from that. And it turns out if you turn those wing tips up too much, it just turns everything absolutely terrible, as you can see by the sudden lots of red across the FAR board there. But so we'll continue to make small changes, and hopefully we'll get something resembling almost all greens, or at least whites instead of reds here on the board. But we are really only running those numbers for one speed and one altitude based on where we started to lose control last time. And of course, that's just not the greatest idea ever. But it still looks pretty good. And that is obviously the most important part of any space plane, is that it looks good. Although all the displacing we've done with the wings now have left our AJ-10 engines a little exposed. We will actually have to detach them entirely in order to reposition them a little more correctly. They did need to be moved up a little bit anyway, so it's a good time to reposition them for balance, and then try to get their angle right across the rest of the spacecraft and make sure that they're not going to be firing through any of our other engines. We will try to get them tucked in, but a review of our FAR numbers just from moving those tanks a little bit has made everything go completely backwards again. So now we're up to 2 red marks on our FAR report. Is not great, but we'll try to just shift these tailplanes around. I think it's a downward velocity and still a side slip error or side slip deficiency. So to try to correct that, we're going to double up on our rudder fins or our rudder actuators by adding a second control surface here to the wing and then to the tail fin. Try to get stabled out, and then we're just going to go ahead and cheat this thing into orbit just to run a reentry test and nothing else. So we will get all that set up through Kerbal construction time and then bounce on out to orbit. Ta-da! Magic how that works. But this does put us around the equator, which is just fine, really. We will jettison our 8-ton test weight now that we have a signal connection, and pivot the ship to eject it from the cargo bay. Always nice. Just continued rotation. This thing is not the most nimble of spacecrafts. Again, coming in at like nearly 300 tons empty. We have a bunch of weight, but there was some liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen left in, so we kicked on the RS-25s to get rid of it, although that has made our periapsis much, much lower than what we anticipated. So we will just vent the rest of that fuel out the back. Those engines all have just one ignition, and we've now wasted it. So we have no other means to dispose of this liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, other than to vent it. So since our periapsis is now way too low, we'll fire up our AJ-10s and try to get to a much more respectable peri-G, something that might be survivable on reentry. Not the close to impact ballistic trajectory that we were on. Of course, that venting takes a very, very, very long time, unfortunately. The more fuel you have, the longer it takes to vent out, although I wish there was some kind of way to step up the speed on using this mod to vent things, especially when you have a lot of something that you just want to get rid of all of it. Now, we've also burned off way more aerosine and nitrogen tetroxide than I guess would be normal, so we'll also use that to kind of cheat some fuel into one of our forward tanks and hopefully give us enough runtime on these thrusters to orient ourselves during descent, which is absolutely crucial, especially higher up in the atmosphere where there isn't enough air on the control surfaces to really have any effect whatsoever. Just a little Alt F12, because really we're here for a very specific testing purpose, and that is reentry. And really, this project cannot progress any further until we prove that it can re-enter the atmosphere and land safely, ideally on a runway, although that is probably a far-fetched dream. I have yet to put anything down on a runway without putting it into a flat spin first, so we will be working on that technique, probably with the SKS shuttle in some future episodes, but we're also hoping that we have enough tail fin that is rearward enough to get into the airstream during reentry. From this angle, it certainly would appear that way. But FAR is a evil mistress, and is always looking for fantastic reasons to screw you out of things and make things uncontrollable. But this is quite a heavy spacecraft, and trying to glide it to any respectable measure is a challenge all in itself. But I thought the hardest part was going to be getting something like this into orbit. We seem to have figured that out okay enough, and now we just have to get our wing surface area to agree with us enough to let this thing come safely home, which is of course the second largest hurdle, and honestly, in my opinion, it's the hardest thing to do with shuttles or anything that uses a glide slope reentry. It's just not a whole lot of fun figuring out how to make this stuff work. Although it is fun to do it, I shouldn't say it's not fun. It is very fun. It's a challenge, and that's what makes it fun. It's just a very challenging challenge. Alright, anyway, I'm going to turn you over to Old Me for live commentary during the live stream. Really interesting, this roll deviation. Wow. What are you doing, dude? You can probably angle your nose down just a bit. I know it's not... I don't know, we're not really in the thick of anything, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. Yeah, I'll say, I had such massive success with that disposal unit that I put down on the moon that I think doing, like, hauler trucks that can pick up very large things and move them around the surface is probably going to be the way to go. Either that or figure out propellant only, no parachute landings. Station shuttles and a research base on Europa. Man, that would be a huge accomplishment. Mobile Mars base height. No, a base that has trucks. It'll be like a Martian truck stop simulation gaming. It'll be like a research facility with a lot of heavy equipment operators. Grand Tour of Jupiter. I'm still trying to land something anywhere in the Jovian system. It'll get there soon. We've just been very busy. But man, I can't even contemplate how to put a crew out that far. RSS Gravity Assist Grand Tour. Like, did you hit everything? Use Deep Freeze. I'll say, yeah, there's few things genuinely as satisfying as nailing a perfect multiple gravity assist. I mean, even they're not that perfect, but I accidentally slingshotted something from Jupiter to Neptune way back in the day. And that was, like, I was giddy about that for weeks. But honestly, I think the inner planets are a lot harder with gravity assists. I mean, if you can get something to Jupiter, you can get something to any other planet. But then getting that alignment to get the rest of them in that chain is horrifying to me. I really do want to practice it more. I just haven't really given myself the opportunity to do so. Sorry, my dog has decided she really needs some attention right now. Is being kind of a brat. Which planner did I use? Just Mech Jeb to tell me when to go to Jupiter. I kind of eyeballed the rest. The first one was accidental. The only other gravity assists I've done were at the 1977 Voyager window. So just based on that, I knew stuff would be lined up. Yeah, there's about to be a dog party in here. Of course. My bad. Oh, that's quite a very sudden nose up. Large AOA side slip, obviously. Sorry about the dog party behind me. When one gets attention, the other one decides that they need attention, and it's time to party instead. So now they're partying. Okay. If we could just settle in here nicely, that'd be great. Come on, go away. There we go. I can edit that out. Perfect. I'll take it. Alright. Well, I haven't had to wrestle with this one yet. I think we're doing okay, but, oh yeah. We are no longer ballistic. I'm sorry, we are now ballistic. We are no longer just suborbital. We will not be making a second pass. Where are we? If this thing was stable enough, we could start diverting south. And what, is that New Zealand? No, I thought New Zealand is over here somewhere. I don't know. We'll see what happens. 48 seconds of fuel left, but of course that's pumping it through 4 HA-10s, not 10,000 RCS thrusters, so we'll see what happens there also. It'd be nice to know about how much margin, that's the word I'm looking for, I need to build in. Delta V over brains. That's pretty much been my entire philosophy. Alright, there goes our first strut, but we only burned off one, and I don't understand why. No, we got a little bit of a roll angle. Not bad. I didn't think it would be enough to burn off one thruster and not another. Penis. Alright, well, this is now about another 20 kilometers down is when things start to get interesting. But we still got some time to kill. Isbang, how's it going? Good to see you. We are doing some reentry testing on the SSTO. It has not been going very well, predictably. Yes. Even though it fails a whole lot, it looks really good failing a whole lot. And that's obviously the most important part. Is that even if it's going to fail, that it should look good while it fails. What is with the very violent nose-up action? I'm pretty much hands-off the controls at this point. I mean, I will eventually have to take over because it's going to go crazy. A little bit Skyline inspired, certainly. Although I don't have the tech for the Rapier or the Saber engines, whatever they're called. Alright guys, give me just 1 second. I need to take care of something for the dog real quick. I will be right back. Yeesh. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Ooh, overheat warnings. That's what I like to come back to. Mach 26. We did not run data for this kind of speed. Doze 12. I would hope so. Somebody's got to feed him. Now her toy was stuck in between the filing cabinet and the table. She's getting very frustrated trying to get it. And other doggo was being mean about it. Alright, there go two struts. At the same time, too. That's a... Oh, nope, called it too soon. Alright. Very close proximity to one another, which is better than last time, I suppose. Alright, well, it looks like rate of descent is very gradually slowing. That's cool. This is pretty much what we saw last time. I do wonder, however... Huh. This thing actually does pretty well, he says as the nose starts to dip. Down to 10 seconds of thruster fuel. Man, we really should start burning off these thrusters. That is rapid. Wow. That is very rapid. I mean, yeah, I guess we got a whole lot of thrusters. I'm not going to let this thing get screwed up because we ran out of thruster fuel. That's amazing. We chewed through that much fuel. I really need to get this whole test. I want to see this through. That did affect our sync rate, didn't it? Did. But hey, look at that. It works pretty well in time warp. That's a very good sign. I mean, in that we haven't gone completely sideways already. We're only at 80 kilometers. Problems don't start until 65. But we have yet to have a decent skip, and we're still going 7 kilometers a second. Very interesting. At least our Mach speed is dropping now also. That's a good sign. I'm kind of scared to come out of time warp because I don't know where we'll be pointing and how it's going to... Okay, that deviation is getting a little extreme there. Oh, I touched the controls. Now it's all going to go wonky. Come on, nose up, dude. Let's go. And at least try to face prograde. At least try. Yeah. Roll right. I will never understand why we have that deviation. Huh. Very interesting indeed. Alright. And we're a lot higher than the last time when we had these problems. Whoa! Okay, yeah, that was an AJ-10 mount. That's new. And so is this entire batch of instability. Let's see if atmospheric autopilot can do something with this. But yeah, now we have a weight imbalance. We have two AJ-10s on this side, not on the other side. Oh, good. Yeah, I'll say those AJ-10s were shielded by the tail planes before. They are no longer because we moved them back. Almost. Come on. Nope, nope, nope. Yes, nose down some more. That's what you need to do. Very interesting. Okay, was that the other side? The other AJ-10s? Okay, well at least we're even now. Oh, all kinds of fun stuff falling off the spacecraft. Oh man, the camera is shaking like we're under a really heavy G load, but we're showing like 3 Gs up here. Yeah. Oh, I thought that was it. I thought we were about to just go ahead and explode. We'll just let it tear off in tiny pieces instead of great big giant ones. Okay. That's really interesting. We actually lost control sooner with this than we did with the other one, even though we were showing more greens across the board. Well, yeah, I guess Mach 15, 50 kilometer. That's what we'll have to test for next time. Hey, we're almost down to 4 kilometers a second. I think that's the slowest this thing has ever survived to. I use survived with air quotes, because this dead butt spin we got going on is just... Ooh. Alright, yeah. We didn't need that part anyway. Oh, come on, now? Nope. As I say, if you find stability now, I'm going to be so upset. But you absolutely did not. That was just a momentary lapse in your terrible judgment. Wow. Yeah, this thing does not like me. And there it goes. Fair enough. 23 kilometers at 2 kilometers per second. I would expect that to turn into a debris cloud. Control was lost at Mach 23, you think? Okay. That's what we'll have to test for next time. Revert flight, spaceplane hangar. Back here at the VAB, we'll just review our data based on what we learned during that test flight. Loosely anyway, and see that, oh yeah, we got a bunch of red, a lot of red categories. So it looks like the numbers we did run were good, but we still have a lot of bugs to work out as far as our high speed, high altitude, reentry angle, and how to adjust our wing surfaces to compensate for that, because it really does just want to come in butt first instead of flat on its belly like we need it to. But that will have to wait for next week's live stream, as we were very much out of time on this one. So that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.